Well, I was going to pass on making this video just to see if I could go 24 hours without making a video. But anyway, yeah, I just wonder sometimes maybe I'm making a few too many, and maybe I really got to start trying to make better videos, make fewer of them, make some better ones. But then again, you know, when I'm looking around for something to watch, and I'm saying, gee, it's a little thin out there. You know, there's a lot of rabbit ape, you know, memorial videos, or whatever you want to call them, but not much else to watch. Just throw it out there, just because since I'm here, might as well a little bit. Yeah, I'm still kind of irritated. I mean, everybody's still talking about like this guy is the big problem, this Kent whatever guy is the big problem, and it really, that isn't the problem. People are going to have a right to file copyright claims. They really do. They have a right to do that. And you know, the appropriate action for YouTube to take is to suspend a video. So if a video gets suspended for 10 or 15 days, it's not the end of the world. But it's this you know, killing the account part that is the real outrage. And so all this energy being wasted, I think, on the wrong criminal. I mean, the real criminal is YouTube, because there's going to be other people, there's going to be other circumstances where people are going to, you know, try to have videos suppressed by filing a copyright claim. And you're not solving anything by going after this one asshole. It's just a waste of energy. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to even get on that subject. So yeah, this is supposed to be a subject about, you know, it's a second part to the Persuasion videos. And basically, I like to compile a list. I mean, I'll work on my own, you know, but if any of you want to contribute, I'd appreciate it in the comments of, you know, just the simple facts, the little simple things that make it obvious to you that, you know, the God story is stupid, and science dictates a better story. I mean, so the most compelling science, or the most compelling logical flaw, or rational flaw in the God theory would be appreciated. So I wrote up a short list anyway. I mean, for me, a big one is always, you know, lots of religious people, you know, they'll hold up a pocket watch or some other bullshit and say, you know, how could this come from nothing? It's idiotic. You know, there had to be a creator. You know, implying that there's no way you could create a human being without a creator. And, you know, it's just way too complicated. And, but then you look at their own theory, and their theory is that this infinite intelligence just existed, came from nowhere, just always was. They always, you know, they never really say just all of a sudden showed up, but that's the alternative explanation, I suppose, is that one day he just unfolded out of the universal space and there he was. But regardless, just even contemplating this intelligence, this fully formed intelligence, who has nothing to learn, nothing, everything's already there, all the knowledge, all the wisdom. And then when you look at the creation and you say, what? You know, this is what intelligence, this is the game that intelligence comes up with. This is the best it can do. It can make planets, it can you know, create a universe, and you know, yet it needs, you know, to pull a rib out to make a woman, and then, I mean, it's just so, and then to have all this whole thing with the good and evil, and the, you know, tree of knowledge, and this whole weird, bizarre soap opera. I mean, it just doesn't make any intellectual sense, and this doesn't seem like an infinitely intelligent being. This seems like a 5-year-old. It seems like a child, an idiot, a moron. Only a moron would create imperfection if they have a perfect intelligence, and not just minor imperfection, but, you know, catastrophic imperfection. So anyway, let's move on. So that's always been a big point for me anyway, is that, you know, how do you create, you know, intelligence out of nothing? You know, and then what was it doing all the time? It was just hanging around. One day it decided, okay, time to make man. And then, as we know, we don't really have free will. There's these atomic particles flying around. They all have a course. And, you know, our brains are so dependent on our conditioning and circumstances and chemistry. It seems preposterous to have a critical decision like, you know, eternal life in paradise or eternal life in hell, you know, horror, contingent on the functioning of this mush. You know, oh, it made the wrong decision, go to hell. You know, we know our own vulnerability, we know our own limitations. It seems a silly standard to be setting up, because we can never even be sure of our sanity. We have presidents who, you know, quite questionable and marginal in that department. Well, anyway, so all right, so you have this parentless intelligence, and so it creates this, you know, we have this story of creation, and most of the stories involve this Adam and Eve thing. And like I say, in the you know, Christian story, you've got this, you know, violence, brother kills brother, and well, anyway, and then but then you have this Cain, and then he has no wife. You know, so where did the wife come from? Why isn't this part of the story? It seems kind of a critical ingredient. Why, you know, this isn't a comic book. This is supposed to be the story of mankind, and they can't even include where his wife came from, or what was going on there. And then the whole explanation. I mean, Adam and Eve, somehow, by spreading them out over a few continents for 6,000 years, well, it's less than that, you're going to come up with all this racial diversity in that short period of time. Doesn't seem probable, doesn't seem rational, sensible, logical, doesn't seem, you know, compatible with just basic science. Not even sophisticated physics, just the basic physics and biology. And so, okay, so a third point that's always been, you know, pretty persuasive for me was the whole disciples turning on Jesus thing. I mean, what they were given the power to raise the dead, and they went across the land and raised the fucking dead. And we're supposed to believe that they had weak faith, you know, a lack of confidence. You know, well, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you had the power to raise the dead, are you going to deny Jesus was the Son of God? I mean, he gave you the power to raise the dead. I mean, how do you, you know, how do you deny that? And when you consider all the other miracles that were witnessed, I mean, even by the common person, they were, you know, they had the benefit of all these miracles. I mean, you know, through the Exodus, you know, you had the plagues and everything else, and you put the lamb's blood over the door, and the plague goes over you. I mean, these are going to say to you, wow, that's pretty impressive, a little lamb's blood, and I don't get the plague. Wow. You watch the sea get parted, and yet, you know, a couple decades later, you're, you know, back to being decadent, selfish fuckers who don't believe in God anymore. You're making golden bowls. It really just doesn't make any sense. And the whole expectation, I mean, apparently the new modern God has such a higher standard he's placing on us than he placed on these people. I mean, Eve got to talk to God. God told her what to do and she fucked it up. God doesn't talk to us. We don't get any direct communication. And what miracles do we get? We get a grilled cheese sandwich with Mary's face on it. I mean, we don't get shit, you know, in terms of miracles, you know, personally. And there's a few people, though, that do. They get to see Jesus, or they get some other, you know, their leg grows back. You hear these stories of people say, oh yeah, I was miraculously cured, my leg grew back, you know, whatever the thing is. And so why would God give one person this decisive evidence and then fuck the other rest of us and just say, nope, I'm not even going to write my name on a rock. I'm not going to, you know, an earthworm won't even stand up and, you know, do a Broadway show or something. I mean, nothing. I'm not going to give you anything to give you any indication that there's anything but crude, horrible forces dictating what's going to happen in your life. and that you have no power, no control, and you can pray until you're blue in the face and you're not getting shit, and I'm not going to fix anything you care about. I'm going to stomp and destroy wherever, you know, circumstance dictates. And it just seems kind of silly, you know, that why would the standard change? Why would God have talking mules and all kinds of interesting miracles going on for people 2,000 years ago, and he won't give us shit? You know, it doesn't seem fair. We're supposed to have faith that's supposed to be made out of absolutely nothing, and these other people get faith that's made out of, you know, miracles. So, time's up.